Jim Jones stands at the microphone in the pavilion.
November 18, 1978. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 900 people sit before him. Waiting. Knowing something terrible is coming. Not knowing this is their last 15 minutes alive.
Jones starts speaking. His voice is rough.
Hoarse from days of amphetamine abuse and paranoid rambling. But something else is there too. Something nobody expected. Hesitation. We have to do this. We have no choice. The congressman is dead. The government will come. They'll kill us all. Torture our people. Destroy everything we built. He pauses. 10 seconds of silence. 900 people holding their breath. Then Jones says something that changes everything. Maybe there's another way.
The crowd stirs.
Confusion. Hope. Fear. Jones catches himself. No, there's no other way. We have to do this. Revolutionary suicide. Death with dignity. That's all we have left.
But his voice wavers.
The certainty is gone. Replaced by something that sounds like doubt. Like fear. Like a man who's not sure anymore. Audio analysts would later study this recording.
Measure the tremors in his voice.
The pauses. The uncertainty. They'd confirm what everyone in that pavilion heard.
Jim Jones was terrified.
Was questioning his own plan. Was looking for an exit that didn't exist. 3 times in 15 minutes he'd say maybe there's another way.
3 times he'd correct himself.
3 times he'd choose death over uncertainty.
And 900 people would die because nobody in that pavilion said the one word that might have stopped it.
No. If you want to understand how a man can doubt and still destroy, subscribe now.
Because this story reveals the 15 minutes when Jim Jones almost changed his mind and why those 15 minutes ended in mass murder anyway.
The death tape recording is 44 minutes long. Starts with Jones announcing Congressman Ryan's death. Ends with silence. Gurgling.
The sound of 900 people dying.
But the critical section is the first 15 minutes.
Before the poison is distributed.
Before people start drinking.
Before the point of no return.
Those 15 minutes contain something historians missed for years.
Something that only became clear when audio engineers cleaned up the recording in the early 2000s.
Enhanced the sound. Isolated Jones's voice. Removed the background noise of crying and movement in fear.
What they found was shocking. Jim Jones was improvising. He had no script.
No prepared speech. He was making it up as he went.
And he kept almost stopping. The original tape was poor quality. Recorded on cheap cassette equipment.
Background noise obscuring details. People talking over each other. Children crying. Guards shouting.
It took decades in modern audio technology to isolate individual voices. To hear what was really being said.
What the original investigators missed.
What got buried under the horror of mass death.
The pauses. The hesitations. The moments of doubt.
They were always there.
Hidden in the noise. Waiting to be discovered. Waiting to reveal that Jim Jones was not the certain dictator history remembers.
He was a terrified man watching his world collapse. And dragging 900 people down with him.
The recording starts at 5:03 in the afternoon. Jones's voice. How very much I've tried my best to give you a good life.
But in spite of all of my trying, a handful of our people, with their lies, have made our lives impossible.
Standard Jones. Blaming others. Positioning himself as victim. But then something different. A pause. Longer than necessary. There's no way we can survive. Another pause. 8 seconds. Is there? The question hangs there. He's asking. Not telling. Asking if there's a way out. Nobody answers. 900 people silent. Too scared to speak. Too conditioned to question. Too trapped in the pattern of obedience to suggest alternatives. The silence answers for them. Jones continues. I've never lied to you. I never have lied to you. His voice cracks. I don't care how many screams you hear. Death is 1,000,000 times preferable to 10 more days of this life. If you knew what was ahead of you, you'd be glad to be stepping over tonight. But even as he says it, his voice betrays doubt. The words say certainty. The tone says fear. He's trying to convince himself as much as them. Audio analysis shows his vocal frequency shifting. Stress markers increasing. Heart rate likely elevated. All signs of a man in crisis. A man who started something he's not sure he can finish. But he's in front of 900 people. He's the leader. The father. The one who always knows. He can't show weakness now. Can't admit doubt. Can't say he's scared. So he keeps talking. Keeps building the narrative. Keeps constructing the justification for mass murder. 5:07. Jones shifts tactics. Please, can we hasten with that medication? You don't know what you've done. And we're going to pay for it. Still blaming others. Still positioning this as forced. As inevitable. As the only option. But then. I'm telling you, I don't care how many screams you hear, death is 1,000,000 times preferable than 10 more days of this life. He said this already. 4 minutes ago. He's repeating himself. Not for emphasis. Because he's stalling. Because part of him doesn't want to give the order. Doesn't want to start the process. Doesn't want to watch 900 people die. Christine Miller speaks up. One of the few brave enough. Is it too late for Russia? She's suggesting an alternative. Escape. Asylum in the Soviet Union. They'd discussed it before. Had contacts. Had plans. Jones had even sent advance teams. Secured potential landing sites. Made arrangements with Soviet officials. Could it work now? Could they still escape? Jones's response is immediate. Defensive. Almost angry. Here's why it's too late for Russia. They killed. They started to kill. That's why it makes it too late for Russia. He's referring to the airstrip shooting. The murder of Congressman Ryan. But his logic is flawed. Murdering a congressman doesn't prevent escape to Russia. It makes it necessary. It makes staying in Guyana impossible. It makes asylum the only rational choice. Jones knows this. His own logic betrays him. But he's not thinking clearly. Hasn't slept in days. Mind clouded by drugs and paranoia and the weight of what he's about to do. Christine pushes back again. Brave woman. Knowing this might be her last act. Knowing Jones has beaten people for less. I look at all the babies and I think they deserve to live. Direct. Simple. Undeniable. The babies are innocent. Haven't committed crimes. Haven't made choices. They deserve life. It's the moral argument Jones can't refute. So he doesn't refute it. He sidesteps. I agree. But don't they also deserve much more? They deserve peace. He's spinning. Trying to make death sound like a gift. Like peace is better than life. Like killing is kindness. But his voice is rising. Getting agitated. Getting desperate. Because she's saying what he's thinking. What part of him wants to say? That there's another way. That the babies deserve to live. That this is madness.
That he's about to commit the worst crime imaginable.
But he can't admit that. Can't back down now. He's gone too far. Said too much. Committed too many crimes. Ordered Ryan's murder. There's no walking back from that. No explaining that away. No returning to normal life. The only way forward is through death. His and everyone else's. At least that's what he tells himself. What he has to believe.
Because the alternative is facing consequences.
Facing trial.
Facing the world knowing what he is.
A murderer. A fraud. A failure. 5011. Jones tries a different approach. It is not to be feared. It is a friend. It's a friend sitting there, waiting with open arms. He's talking about death. Personifying it. Making it sound gentle. Peaceful.
But his voice betrays him again.
The tremor is worse. Audio engineers note a frequency shift indicating extreme stress. Possibly tears.
Possibly the voice of a man watching his life's work end in mass murder.
This is nothing to cry about. This is something we could be happy about. He's commanding them not to cry. Commanding himself not to cry. But people are crying. Children are screaming. The reality of what's happening is setting in. 5013. The first sign of real doubt. Jones pauses mid-sentence. Long pause. 15 seconds. You can hear him breathing on the tape. Ragged breathing. Then. Maybe we can try again. 5 words. Barely audible. Said quietly. To himself maybe. Or to the universe. Or to whatever God he stopped believing in years ago. Maybe we can try again. Maybe we don't have to do this. Maybe there's another way. But he doesn't say it louder. Doesn't announce it to the crowd. Doesn't give the order to stop.
Instead, he catches himself.
Shakes his head. The people closest to the stage would later report seeing this.
Seeing Jones shake his head. Seeing him reject the thought. And then he continues.
Lay down your burdens.
I'm going to lay down my burden.
Back to the script. Back to the plan. Back to death. 5015. Someone else speaks. A man. Name unknown. This is not the first time we've been here.
And we're not backing down now. He's referring to the White Knight drills. The practice runs.
The dozens of times they've gone through this ritual and survived.
The conditioning that made this moment possible.
Jones seizes on this. That's right. We've been through this before. But this time it's real.
This time we're not playing. Except he sounds like he wishes they were still playing.
Like he wants this to be another drill. Another test. Another chance to prove loyalty without actual death. But it's not. The poison is real this time.
The government knows about Ryan's murder.
There are witnesses. There's no going back. And Jones knows it. 5017. The medical staff brings out the vats. Large metal containers. Grape flavor aid mixed with cyanide. The moment of no return. Jones could stop it here. Could call it off. Could say they're leaving for Russia. Could say they're scattering into the jungle. Could say anything except what he says next.
Take the potion like they used to take in ancient Greece and step over quietly.
He's romanticizing it. Making it sound noble. Historical. Revolutionary.
But his voice cracks on quietly.
Because nothing about this will be quiet. Nothing about watching 900 people die will be peaceful. He knows that. Has to know that. But he's committed now. The vats are out. The people are watching. The guards have their guns.
There's no stopping the machine he built.
5019. People are lining up. The process has started. Jones is still talking. Still trying to justify. Still trying to convince.
Please, for God's sake, let's get on with it.
This is revolutionary suicide. This is not a self-destructive suicide. The distinction is important to him. Matters somehow.
Like calling it revolutionary makes it meaningful instead of murder. Like reframing mass death as political act makes it noble. But his voice is hollow.
The words are empty. He's saying what he's supposed to say. What he's practiced saying. But he doesn't believe it anymore. If he ever did. 5021. The first screams. The first person is dying. The poison is fast. Cyanide stops cellular respiration. Death comes in minutes. Sometimes seconds.
The victim convulses.
Gasps. Falls. Jones hears it. Everyone hears it. This is real. This is happening. This is what he ordered.
And for a moment, just a moment, his voice stops.
Complete silence. 5 seconds. 10. 15. The tape captures this.
The pause where Jim Jones confronted what he'd done. Where he heard the first death and had to choose.
Stop it now. Call for help. Evacuate. Try to save who's left. Or continue. Watch it through. Kill them all. He chooses to continue. That's a friend. Death is a friend. Don't be afraid.
But he sounds afraid.
Terrified.
Like a man who opened a door expecting one thing and found hell.
5023. More screams. More deaths. The process is accelerating. Jones is losing control of his voice. The words come faster. Less coherent. More desperate. Hurry, 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 my children. No more pain. He's rushing it now. Wanting it over. Wanting the decision made. Wanting the screaming to stop. Wanting to stop being responsible for every death he's hearing. But they keep coming. One after another.
The sounds of mass murder. The sounds of his life's work ending in the worst way possible.
And Jones keeps talking.
Because if he stops, he'll have to listen.
Have to hear. Have to feel. Have to be present for what he's done. 5025.
Christine Miller is dead.
The woman who questioned. Who suggested Russia? Who said the babies deserved to live? She drank the poison. Whether willingly or forced, the tape doesn't say. But she's gone. The dissenting voice is silenced. Nobody else objects. Nobody else suggests alternatives. They just line up. Drink. Die. The conditioning is complete. The obedience is absolute.
Even now, even watching people die, they trust Jones.
Believe him. Follow him into death. And Jones watches. Bears witness. Carries the weight of every scream. Every convulsion. Every death. 5027. Jones's voice again. But different now. Quieter. Resigned.
Mother, 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 please.
Mother, please don't do this. Lay down your life with your child. He's talking to someone specific.
A mother who's resisting.
Who won't let her child drink. Who's trying to save them.
Jones is ordering her to kill her child.
Ordering her to drink. Ordering her to die.
His voice is dead.
Flat. The emotion is gone. Burned out. Replaced by nothing. He's a robot now. Following the program. Executing the protocol. Killing by command. The human part of Jim Jones is gone. What's left is just the killer. 50:30. 15 minutes have passed. 900 people are dead or dying. The screaming is constant. The smell of bitter almonds fills the pavilion. The bodies are piling up. Jim Jones stands at the microphone. Still talking. Still commanding. Still playing father. But his voice is barely a whisper now. We didn't commit suicide.
We committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world.
Still justifying. Still spinning. Still trying to make it mean something. But the words are hollow. Empty. Meaningless. 900 people are dead.
And Jim Jones killed them.
Not the government. Not the CIA. Not the enemies he feared. Him.
With his voice. With his commands.
With his inability to say stop. The tape continues for another 29 minutes. Jones keeps talking. Background noise shifts from screams to silence.
From chaos to stillness. From life to death. By the end, Jones's voice is barely audible.
Slurred. Dying.
He took his own poison. Or someone shot him.
The evidence is unclear. But he died. Became victim number 909. The last death in the massacre he created.
The final casualty of his fear and doubt and inability to say no to himself.
Audio engineers who studied the tape confirm it. The pauses. The hesitations.
The 3 moments where Jones said or implied, maybe there's another way.
The tremor in his voice. The fear. The doubt. Voice stress analysis shows elevated heart rate. Shallow breathing. Classic indicators of panic.
Of a man in crisis. Of someone who doesn't want to do what he's doing but can't stop himself.
Linguistic analysis reveals sentence fragments. Incomplete thoughts.
Repetitive phrases.
All signs of cognitive dissonance.
Of someone whose beliefs and actions are in conflict.
Of someone who knows they're wrong but acts anyway.
Jim Jones was not certain. Was not committed.
Was terrified of what he was doing. And he did it anyway. Because stopping meant facing consequences. Meant admitting failure. Meant being wrong.
Meant standing in front of 900 people and saying I made a mistake.
I ordered a murder I shouldn't have. We should run instead of die. I don't have all the answers. I'm not God.
I'm just a scared man who lost control.
And Jim Jones couldn't say that. Couldn't admit weakness. Couldn't back down. Couldn't show the vulnerability that might have saved everyone.
So he killed 900 people.
While doubting.
While scared.
While knowing there was another way but being unable to take it. Because taking that way meant destroying the image he'd spent 30 years building.
The image of infallible leader.
Of father who always knows. Of revolutionary who never doubts. That image was more important than 900 lives. More important than babies. More important than truth.
More important than stopping mass murder. So he protected the image.
And killed everyone who believed in it. That's the horror of the final sermon. Not that Jim Jones was evil. Evil is simple.
This was worse.
This was a man who knew it was wrong. Who questioned it? Who almost stopped 3 times?
Who had 15 minutes to change his mind.
And chose death anyway. Because doubt isn't the same as stopping. Fear isn't the same as resistance. Knowing you're wrong isn't the same as admitting it. Jim Jones knew. And killed them anyway. 44 minutes of audio. 15 minutes of doubt. 3 moments of almost stopping. 909 deaths.
One coward who couldn't say the word that would have saved them all.
No.